You're listening to the Simplifiers podcast, where we take topics in work and life and simplify them. And friends, I'm so glad you're back with us again, because this time we're going to talk about wealth, specifically your money. And well, this is a great time in the summer to really step back and re-examine the money you have collected, the wealth in your life that's beyond financial gains as well, and how to attract and create more of it in your life by specifically sharing your gifts. My special guest today, her name is Maria Davis, and she's a medical intuitive and spiritual mentor who helps entrepreneurs who want to go big, tap into natural law, and create a business to support their world and the world at large. So I'd like to welcome to the Simplifiers podcast, Maria Davis. Hey, Maria.
Hello, Mary. Nice to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure. Absolutely. So first off, what is a medical intuitive, real quick?
A medical intuitive is we see the unseen. So I used to go around and see what the illnesses were, see shadows and see things that were off from people that walked past me. I'm like, and energy that was streaming at me, and yes. I didn't know how to harness it, so I created a whole body of work that underpinned the ability to do this work professionally. And now I support people with their energy and illnesses and diseases and really getting to the core of where they land in their body.
I think this is so fascinating to me. So I really want to dive deep into it, because I think that sometimes, and I'll put my hand up first, sometimes we let our brain dictate all the things. and the brain is good for some things, and equally the heart is good for some things. But I think there is something deeper at play here, right?
Yeah, it's so I teach how to speak to your soul. And when you're speaking to your soul, there's no doubt.
Yeah.
There's no fear. The soul is pure. The soul has had many, many reiterations, and the soul carries a lot of energy and cellular beliefs. And I say it in parentheses because it's a belief pattern, but imagine you don't know where a thought's coming from. And quite often that's what I see in my work. It's like, okay, let's dissect it. Let's get under the core of it. Let's get into the story. Let's get into the history of it. And I'm a channel, so I channel some of the work as well. And when we're speaking soul to soul, and that's how I work, you forget about that ego persona and all the stories of now, but you look at the energy body and you look at where there's a little distortion, it's misaligned, what can we work on here, let's clear this. And I tell you, Mary, it's magic. What comes out is, sometimes I can't even articulate it. It's what comes out is an essence, is a knowing, is that fear is gone, and that doubt is minimized. Not to say it's not going to come up again. So I want to say that, because I'm a realist. But when it does, it goes, I've worked on this before. This is another layer.
I think of it like an onion, really.
Yes.
The outer layer is the ego and the noise of the world itself, the not enoughness, you need to hustle and grind and move faster and do more, right? And when you can start to peel that onion and get past that, the fear is what keeps us playing small, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the fear. There's the fear of not being of service, the fear of not living your soul purpose, the fear of loss. There's 5 main fears, and as a societal narrative, we're drawn into those fears from the moment we start to walk, or the moment we start to cry for attention. And don't cry, you'll be okay. But what about if we did cry? What about if we cried it out? What about if we released it through? And I think the soul knows.
Yeah.
I live come, come and live with me, come and talk to me, come and spend some time with me. Ego, spend some time with your soul, because I really love this. I love that you said noise, because that's what I want to shut out. The noise of the outside world, because that old saying, it's an inside job. It's sort of like almost superficial to me, but it's true, because it's being repeated over and over again, and we don't know what that means until we go inside and we really close the noise off consciously, come in and really tap into that soul-driven purpose.
And it sounds like it's a deep inner knowing. I mean, I know when I slow down and really listen to my intuition and my deep inner knowing, that the answers actually already lie inside me. There may be specific skills I need to learn from other people outwardly, but ultimately, the answers are there if we listen, if we shed the ego and the fear and all the things and just simply listen. So I want to break this down because I think that when we talk about wealth and we talk about money, sometimes people just close right up because of either thoughts on their beliefs on money or what money means to them. So I first want to start by getting your definition. How do you define wealth and how do you define money?
Money's easy. It's dollars. But it's not so easy, right? It's very layered with lots of energy.
Yes.
So I want to say that I've been exploring the idea of money being currency. So the more I can plug into my currency, the more energy I have to be current and to support the currency and share that currency in the world. So money is currency. So that to me breaks down all of the money is evil, we shouldn't have money, I shouldn't ask for money for my gift, that sort of narrative which is pervasive in our society, especially the good girl syndrome and the mother wound. There's all these other layers which are quite deep and very real. I have to say very real.
So then do you define wealth differently than what you just defined money as?
Yes. So wealth is a wealth consciousness. So wealth to me is a layer. It's joy. It's your values. It's what you're here for. It's joy, love, happiness, contentment, resilience, fortitude, courage. It's that can-do, inspired action.
So when you approached our team and said, I'd love to be on your podcast, you talked about the ways of creating wealth by specifically sharing your gifts. So let's talk about, you say that there are 3 tenets to creating wealth. Tell us those.
So connection. So connection to your gift. So you are not a fraud. You are gifted. You may need to develop your gift because the gifts are innate.
Yeah.
And we all have innate gifts. I think everyone has an innate gift. But there is a body of work that you need to do to develop, refine, and have it as a professional container so that you can offer it. And that takes a bit of time to do. Then a commitment to yourself to do that work. So do your inner work. If you're offering your gift, there's going to be a whole lot of narratives that say, what is a gift? You know, that doubt. So do your inner work, do your shadow and light work, and then do that commitment to your business enterprise. So we were talking about systems. Do your systems, create your program that you're proud of, do your personal branding. You're proud to get your personal brand out there because it just looks so beautiful and you love it. Do something so commitment to beauty, innovation, influence, and really to yourself to be that sacred self and on your own platform, personal platform. And then the other one is contribution. How do you contribute? How are you making a difference by putting this out in the world? Know that.
I think that this is beautiful, the way you've simplified it down. So again, to recap, connection, commitment, and contribution, are the three tenets to really begin to create wealth in your work and in your life. And I can equally hear the negative Nancy friend in the back of my head going, yeah, but that's hard. Maria's telling us to just, figure out your shadow work and put your stuff together and go.
Hand up, not to pause, but hand up, I'm there with you.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of having women that have actually created wealth and richness in the world. So having that path and leading you through the path and knowing the pitfalls that you're going to go across. And I'm developing, I'm open, and I have to say, every level has a new nuance to it.
Yeah.
And I was just thinking, the bigger I get, the bigger I get. So I'm thinking, as I expand, I'm doing emotional eating again. And I'm like, I need to look at that. But I wouldn't have had that awareness years ago.
Yeah.
So the awareness is the key. So I've pulled back on my emotional eating. I'm doing all those things that I would do just to keep myself healthy. And those little habits that we get into when we do that narrative goes into fear, because as you grow, there will be more fear.
Yeah. Different fear, different levels, different issues, right?
And just like, I don't want it like that. It's not a full stop, because it's fear. It's intense, but you have the skills.
Yes.
Because you've done it.
Yes.
And you go, okay, I'm going to keep going. And I want to say, keep going, because they get easier to go through. It's not, you don't hold on to them as much as I did when I first started. I'm not sure about you, Mary, and I know a lot of other women that hold on to them, but they don't stay for that long, like years.
Yeah. Well, and
you transcend them.
It's interesting that you should say it in that way, because, for me, I've been in business 17 years now. And so the things that I was struggling in year 4 were very different from year 10 and very different to now year 17. And I think that I have had blunders. I will be the first to admit things that I wish I had handled differently or better. However, I have the Girl Scout sash full of badges of things that I've learned along the way that have helped me, up level and not make the same mistakes twice, So I think that part of that is not perfection in any way, shape, or form, but truly just to go, well, that thing happened. What did I learn? Am I going to hold on to the shame of a blunder and anchor it down and let it hold me back? Or am I going to figure out a way to release it as quickly as possible, learn the lessons, and keep going, right?
Yeah, and I love that you said that, because yes, I was clapping as you're saying your badges, because please celebrate your successes. I think that's really powerful, because you acknowledge them and embody them. But it's I really feel that we transcend the content changes, but the underlying fears that we have will come up. The content does change, but we transcend that, because we say, that was that, and it's coming up again. What is the message? Okay, I worked on it then. I've got these tools. I can do it now. It's because we learn along the way, that personal development journey.
Yeah, you find the trigger points, you find the repeating patterns, and you have to be active in choosing a different outcome, a different action to have a different outcome. So I want to pivot back to what we were talking about earlier, of like sharing your gifts. First off, how do we define our gifts and really claim them for ourselves, instead of like denying them, specifically in our work?
They keep you up at night. Your gifts you do it so easily that it's like, doesn't everyone do this? Like, I was reading bodies and energy and I thought everyone could do it. But it was like, no, Maria is sensitive. She's the crybaby. She needs time out, because that was my process. But I didn't know that that was a construct. I didn't know that that was a gift.
Yeah.
So and then it kept nudging me. It kept me up at night. It kept me, what's next? And it materializes eventually. And yes, I denied it. And I'm so glad you said that, Mary. I denied it. I suppressed it. I depressed it because it was weird.
Yeah.
It wasn't in my world. But then when I look back, my grandmother did the same thing. My father denied it, but my grandmother did the same thing. And I went back to my ancestry, and I am part of that original clan. And it's like, So keep asking the question. I find the question, when you ask the question, the answer is inherent in the question. So if you're getting that nudge, follow it. Be curious.
Yeah, and I think that what I heard in what you just said there, it's the thing that comes so naturally to you that you could just do it, in the shower. You could do it when you're walking the dog. It's such a natural gift to you, and I have a few of those myself that people like to remind me, like, Mary, you're so good at that. Like, not everybody can do that. And you just forget. Sometimes you need that outer mirror to reflect it back to you, right?
Yes, yeah. And absolutely, you can do it in the shower. I was just thinking, when you said that, I was thinking that I have channeled thoughts, and I read people's bodies in the shower that have contacted me. I was like, okay, that's good. Thank you. I'll let them know later. So it comes to you, and it comes to you so easily. It's just something that you do. And ease doesn't mean that it's not valuable.
Yes. Yeah. So selfishly, I'm sitting over here thinking, Maria, what do you read from me?
Oh, I love your energy. I just think it's so vibrant. It's got this gold and white around it. So you're in your purpose. I can tell.
Oh.
And it's also got you've got this red anchor where you're safe and secure and you're on purpose. So that outer light, and then the inner light is and there's a yellow beam, it's like, I'm here. The throat chakra is good. The heart space, you're actually on purpose. And that's one of our things, that the soul just lights up through the body.
And I really appreciate you saying that. I love the work I do with the podcast. I love the work I get to do out in the world to help people simplify. I mean, it truly is. It lights me up. I get so excited every single time. That's it. Like, I think it becomes a win-win, right? Because when you do the work that lights you up, it ripples out to the people that you work with and the impact that you make in the world. I mean, looking at the antithesis of that, if I was doing work that I hated, I wouldn't show up with this kind of bright light. My clients probably wouldn't get results because it's like, there's that kind of energy to it, right? So it makes a lot of sense. Like, find your gifts, claim them, and put them forth into the world, right?
Yeah, and I love that you said claim them, because that's a process in itself. You do need some outside validation, which eventually you say, I've got enough experience to know.
Yeah.
I have enough wisdom that I've tapped into that it's okay. I know. But what I want to say is practice. Because with experience, with that acknowledgement, and you said celebration of your achievements, like your achievements are your first client. Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
You remember your first client, it's like,
Yeah.
and then what you did with them, the difference you made.
Yeah. It makes all the difference in the world.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. That's the value, I think, that stirring of what's present and stirring it until you release that stuff that is not working.
Mm.
And we can't see it because it's in the shadow, it's underneath the surface, and someone else can see it more than we can.
Mm. And
I have tools.
yeah, and case in point, I know that when I am lit up in my work and I have a good experience, either on the podcast recording with someone like yourself or working with a client as a business coach, they go off and they go, "Man, that was so great! I really loved blah 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 blah," and then that's where how the energy flows, the ripple effect happens in your work, and ultimately that is how, at least how I've seen that we can create wealth here at the Simplifiers. It's rippling out that energy, and it feeds off of itself in a good way.
Yeah, and I think I have this theory that we're here to heal 7 generations back and heal 7 generations forward. And that is such an inspiration to me. Do my children have to work as hard as I did? They will have their own work, because we're a soul in a human body, and the human body is flawed. We have ego and all of those
Yes.
other things that keeps us motivated.
Yeah.
So thank you. But what a motivation. What am I showing to the world?
Yeah.
That if I can do it, you can do it too.
Yes.
Because I'm no different to you. I might have had other experiences, but they build on. So honor your experiences. I say we're same but different. We all have this. We all experience the same emotions. Intensity might change and content might change, but we experience the human emotions, the
Yeah.
breadth of them. We're all the same.
Yeah, and what I hear in that is points back to kind of collective consciousness. I was speaking to Scott Robinson, the brain guy, down in Sydney at the beginning of this season, beginning of this year, 2021, and we're talking about the collective consciousness. I mean, of all humans being connected, well, all living beings, really, and so how that can be interplayed here. The work you do with your clients, you are already connected on a deep cellular energetic level, right? Yes, there is the products and services you're providing them, and there is energy there, but there's also a deeper connection at play as well, right?
Absolutely. It's we talk about the quantum and the holograph and our holographic universe, that we're all connected across all spheres. And what I say to my clients is, you don't have to sell. You don't have to be anything that you're not.
Yeah.
You have to show up, pop your head up, so your soul family finds you. Because we're all looking for our soul family.
Yeah.
And that soul family is a connection, an unbridled connection. Is that the right word? It's sort of like, it's just a connection beyond what we expect. It's pure, it's facilitation, it's value, it's worthiness, it's clears. It's everyone comes in your sphere for a reason, and it's like just pop your head up.
Yeah.
Because they're there.
Yeah. And it's love. I mean, without sounding too squishy and all the things, but it's love. It's the ultimate connector point underneath.
Absolutely, because we're all that pure soul, and all we want to, we want to be seen, we want to be held, we want to be loved.
Yes. Yeah. And offline, before we started recording, you had said to me, your gifts are steady, but your products and services can evolve. Can you expand on that thought as well?
So, the narratives around how you offer is an evolution.
Yeah.
Because you're going to grow into concepts, like I've grown into pillars of concepts and programs and formulas that go together. so that's over time that I've created that evolution. So it's going to change, but keep offering, and don't stay like, if it doesn't light you up, change it up.
Right.
Because it's, as you said before, Mary, if it lights you up, it's going to light up the world as well, because that's the energy you bring, and it's that frequency match. That's what we want. So the frequency that comes into your world is the frequency you're showing. So I know that's a big concept, but just simply, if you're lit up, you're the ripple effect that lights up the world too. You see it in your family, right? If your mum is happy, happy wife, happy life, right?
Yeah. I think it's so fascinating in that particular. Let's take it from the lens of being a small business owner out in the world. You've created a thing, product or service, and, you've had some success over time. And then a pandemic happens. and then, something somewhere just completely sideswipes you, and you either lose your mojo or the world just needs something different from you. I think what I hear in what you just said is realizing, as a small business owner, you have permission to change it up. You have permission to let something go and surrender it and evolve a new thing, but building off of those internal, everlasting gifts that you have inside. Is that what you're saying there?
I'm like, yeah, yes. You have permission to drive your own bus.
Yeah.
You have permission to drive your own car. If that's what you need to do, just, if you're coming from a place of this is it, and it comes together, this is some of the secrets. It's about manifesting that next product, is if it comes together really easily, go with it.
Yeah.
If it's tripping you up, it's like, just have a look at that.
Yeah.
But if it comes together really easily, I've just created a program over the weekend, and it's like, it just came together. It was so magical. It just came together so easily. And then I had it all branded, and even my manager, she goes, "This is so easy, Maria." It just was so magical. I'm like,
and that's flow state at its peak, right? Like, you're hitting a flow state internally, and time becomes completely a construct, right? And you're just in the flow of whatever it is, your secret sauce work that you do so well, that comes naturally to you. So I want to shift gears. We talk about sharing our gifts, sharing it out to the world, sharing to our clients, becoming more visible, all those things. But in what ways can you tell if you're maybe giving too much, and equally maybe you're not open in receiving, open for receiving return?
I love that, Mary, because that was me.
Yes.
And I think that's a lot of women out there, that we are givers, and it's hard for us to receive because we're in that, we have that mothering ethos, even with our clients. So we're giving to our clients so that they can see, and we give in different ways. So it's energy, it's content, it's support, it's having I'm thinking of boundaries. If you're overgiving, please put in some boundaries. Yeah. If you're finding yourself too tired, please make your day a beginning and an end. So have some the systems. Systems are a good way to know if you're giving and receiving. So if your systems feel solid and they're scaffolding, they're supporting your gift to go forward, do it, because you should be energized by your gift, but be of service too.
Yeah.
And when you're feeling empty, I find if I'm feeling needy of external validation, I need something. It's actually, I need something for myself.
And so how do you give it to yourself?
So I pause. I have a few things I do. I meditate. I remember to meditate, so I meditate regularly. I go for a walk, or can I say here, I have a love affair with Netflix.
Okay, great.
So just something that stops me overthinking and overstimulated, and I need to dial down my adrenals. So I need to come back to myself, because if I'm in that need, in that overgiving, and I stop receiving, if you're overgiving, you can't receive because you're depleted and you don't know how to receive. So let's work on the experience of receiving. What can I receive today? Is it a compliment? Is it a smile? Is it a client booking? Is it money from my business? Can I receive something?
Yeah.
If you can't receive, that's a clue that your adrenals are on overload, that they are your pet, like that pedaling, because adrenals are, and you go, that anxiety builds up, and then you shut down because. But before you get to that, just notice how you're feeling. What do you need for yourself?
I appreciate that kind of simple pause. What do I need? What do I need right now? Because I think when you're in that space where the adrenal glands are on overdrive and the little hamster in your hamster wheel is going as fast as she possibly can, right? I go faster, run, and I hear this a lot in clients where their businesses have taken off very quickly and they've had to scale very fast and get new employees or contractors in to help them. And it's like, holy cow, my hamster wheel has now gotten much bigger and bigger and bigger with more staff, more payroll, means more clients. I mean, you can hear it in the intensity of my voice. Like, it builds that anxiety of like, how could I stop? If I get off the hamster wheel, the whole thing falls apart. That's fear, right? Speaking there.
Yeah, it's fear and anxiety. And anxiety is so prevalent and pervasive. It's your kidneys. So your kidneys will be on overload. Self-care is what's needed. So when kidneys are on overload and adrenals are on overload, self-care, and I know that's a whitewash because we hear it a lot in our business forums.
Sure.
But self-care, what does it mean for you? Does it mean talking to a friend?
Yep.
Does it mean sitting down and eating your lunch?
Yeah.
Having 5 minutes. What I say is do it incrementally, because if you've been a worker bee and then you're a CEO, it's different. There's a different energy there. But try it on. Increment. Like, can I sit for 2 minutes?
Yeah.
Can I pat my dog in between my clients? Can I go and make a cup of tea and not sit in front of my computer and check my emails, but can I go out into the garden? Can I go to a coffee shop and take up 20 minutes? Just do it incrementally, and I think your body, the uptake of that embodiment of appreciation of what that can do and stimulate you even more, because what happens, you slow down to speed up.
Yeah.
And you can give a lot more.
Yeah.
And you can do a lot more, but you can't do a lot when you're in that.
Go. It will burn out. Yeah.
Yeah, it'll burn out. And we see a lot of women burning out.
Yeah.
And I don't want them to burn out. I burnt out a couple of times and it's not fun.
It shows up physically. It shows up in your digestive system. It shows up in your sleep, and it all compounds to bad news bears all around. Yeah, and for me, I mean, I think you're spot on your suggestions for self-care, because I think we overcomplicate it and think that it has to be a whole day away. We have to go have a retreat. We have to go somewhere and do this, and it's going to cost a lot of money, and we talk ourselves out of it. The things that are definitely working for me is 10-minute walk around the block, like literally 10 minutes. I know exactly the route. Like, that's 10 minutes, walk the dog, it's happiness. You're in the sunshine, it's all good. Even simply just taking my shoes off and putting my feet in the grass outside is 2 minutes of that. It does phenomenal things to your nervous system in grounding yourself to Mother Earth. And even just the simple thing of drinking water. And again, it just seems so silly and dumb and simple, but it is in fact simple. Remembering that a glass of water will help, again, reset that nervous system and hydrate you. Absolutely. It goes a long, long, long way. And I think that those tiny, simple choices compound in a good way to get you back to center, to get you back to where you can hear that deep inner knowing voice, right?
Yeah, they help you remember. They help you remember what you can control and what power you have
Yeah.
to bring yourself back. Because when you're on that, I have to, I should, I could.
Yeah.
All of that energy is going out there. But when we come back to ourselves and really honor and love yourself enough to honor who you are and your gift
Yeah.
that you've been brought here to share, that's on purpose. That gives you so much energy. Then you're plugging into that currency and you're getting you're getting the trigger. Oh, I am wealthy. I am conscious. Have wealth consciousness.
Yeah.
And that's sort of like,
Yeah.
I could be a leader too.
Yeah. And I think that that's it, the plugging in bit, because when you do take good care of your soul and take good care of yourself on a deeper level like that, my brain at least moves into an expansive space of going, oh, what if you called that person? Or, what if you, shaped this offer and put this out in the world? And that's where the wealth comes from, is having those divine nudges, if you will, that point you into the places of opportunity and creates the wealth that we're all looking for, right?
Yeah, when you're sort of full like that, you go, how can I add value?
Yep. Yeah.
Without over giving, without over promising,
Exactly.
without going on the pedal because you're coming from fear. But it's like, I can see that person is struggling with that. And this is, oh my goodness, I've had an idea. I'm going to share it with them.
Yes. Yeah.
And how exciting is that? It's like, I want you to be wealthy.
Yes, yeah. And that's the same thing. You want your clients to win as well. So it's again, it's the energy behind where you are. And I know, having gone through bouts of depression or just feeling without hope, it's hard to see through that brain fog. It's hard to see, like, how will the world get any better, And it is finding that lifeline to pull yourself out slowly, with those micro moments of self-care, speaking to friends, reaching out and realizing you're not alone and isolated in it as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
You're talking my language.
you talk about agency and capacity. Like, what does that mean as it relates to your client load and ideal client schedule?
So if you're extended your capacity, that means that you're on the pedal. You're in growth mode,
Yeah.
and you pull back and know that your systems are there to scaffold you. So I'm talking about systems, simple systems, diary,
Yeah.
time management, your personal things in your diary. So you are self-care, you prioritize that.
Yep.
And then how many clients do you want to work with a week? How many clients do you want to work with? How many clients can you work with?
Yes.
So there's two different. So that's a scale that you can grow into, but the capacity is an energetic container. What can I do? And what do I do? So that's like a continuum. And then agencies, what influence do you have in the world? What is your ripple effect? Really articulate what that ripple effect is. What are you doing? The power, the influence. What content are you putting out in the world? What offers are you putting out in the world? Own it.
Yeah.
Because when you own it, I love you. Don't we love people that have that agency? I like what she's saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's an energetic pull to it. So it's about not doubting your gift, having that agency, having it articulated, having it in words, writing it out. It's an anchor. And then capacity is just see what your capacity is. Can you serve 3 people? Can you serve 4 people? What is your daily capacity? What is your weekly capacity? What is your monthly capacity? Have that system fluid, but yeah, I can do that many a day, or I can do that many, and try, test and measure, test and measure, test and measure. 'Cause that's how you grow.
It's solid advice, and I 100% agree with that because when you look at it, capacity on your schedule and start to systemize how you run your business, we talk about if you're a service-based provider, like a graphic designer or a coach or something like that, how many client calls can you really take in a week? And not just how many can you take and sort of get by, but like how many energetically feel right for you. And for some people, that may be only 5 client calls per week, and maybe Friday is your strategy day where you don't talk to clients whatsoever. And then I think it's a process of reverse engineering and going, okay, if at any point in time I can only take on 5 clients, how much do I need to be charging in order to, have the lifestyle I want? Because I think a lot of times, and I'll stereotype here a bit, but I do believe that a lot of women will underprice themselves and go, oh, well, I don't want to, impose. And so they don't try to take up very much space. And I have been guilty of this as well, where at points where my confidence shrinks, I go, ooh, maybe I should offer a discount, and maybe I should be a teeny tiny price, and my energy shrinks. And, when you shrink like that and you only have a capacity for 5 clients, there is no viable business there. You have to price accordingly to your capacity, right?
Yeah, and you're right. I love that you said the viable business, because are you in business? Become the CEO of your business.
Yes.
3 fingers back at me. Don't you worry. I've worked it through.
Mm-hmm.
But it's become the CEO. You are in business.
Yes.
This is a currency. This is a wealth that you're creating. So be in business. Be that CEO that you want to see in the world. Not to admire others, admire yourself for doing it, because a lot of people will sit in that fear and minimize their gifts and not have it, not support their soul calling, and that's depleting for your soul,
Yes.
for your body. It creates illness. I've seen it.
Yeah.
Do what you need to do to get your gift out in the world, and know that it's an energetic game as well. It's not only in, out, energy in, energy out. It really is a whole embodiment process when you become that CEO of your business.
And I know in the work that you do, you create circles specifically for female entrepreneurs. So talk to us about the power of really cultivating community, and specifically with other female business owners that are out there in the world. How does that help you to create wealth?
So what happens in a circle, it's sort of, I love circles because they're sort of cut out the noise and you remember who you are.
Yes.
And then you mirror, you see what others are going through, and you think, I'm not alone.
Yeah.
And I think that's the biggest thing for solopreneurs and women who are working on their own in their homes, that sometimes being alone is that missing link. When you connect to other women and you know that they're going through the same thing. It doesn't matter if you're a $10,000 a year entrepreneur or $1 million, and I have both in my circles, so I've seen them. We're all going through the same stuff. Every expansion creates a new fear. But then you say, okay, I've experienced this before. I'm being held. I'm supported. This is an ego construct. I'm going to step off and do what I need to do.
Yeah. I 100% agree. I think when we as women truly rise up and see each other as confidants and colleagues and all the things, rather than competitors, because I think women are pitted either consciously or unconsciously to compare and contrast against each other. But when we actually come together, I think the world itself on a very large scale is going to start to shift. I believe this with all fibers of my being, in business, in our climate, in how we educate our children in the next generation. I mean, we are such a powerful force to be reckoned with if we truly believe and embrace it and come together rather than try to shoot each other down.
I agree, and the circles are a microcosm of the macrocosm. You know,
Yes.
they're the things that are happening in society that we're not really truly aware of until we say, hey, did you know that this is a societal narrative?
Yeah.
And did you know that the cosmic influences are throwing this at you and that at you? And
Yeah.
oh, no wonder. Okay. Did you know this about yourself? Oh my God, are you going through the same thing? Oh my goodness. Well, maybe it's not a big thing. And, you know, shame is very pervasive. So if we think that we are the only ones going through it, then we're not going to be nurtured or cultivated or collaborate with the energy of going forward, because it's what we know. It's like, no, I don't need. I can say it out aloud, and even saying things, articulating them. It's like, I can release that now. It's like, and they still accept me. Okay. I can say that vulnerable thing and I'm okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a very healing process too.
And if you are listening to us right now and you're curious about what Maria does in the world and the circles that she helps facilitate, I highly recommend going to her website. It's mariaheals.com. And there you can find all the good details about how to get plugged in, how to really do this work and find the transformation. Start to attract that wealth that you're looking for and learning how to truly share your gifts as well. Now, Maria, you have a thing called Soul-Powered Launch Hacks. What is that?
It's a thing that I put together for my clients because it's I want to say a thing. It's sort of like a whole years of work in one container, but it's how I dissect what it takes to really listen to your soul and launch your gifts in the world. So I call them launch hacks because at the end of the day, they're easy but not so easy, but they're easy. Because I like simple, doable, practical. If it's not simple, I can't do it.
Brilliant.
If it's not doable, I'm not going to do it. And if it's not practical, if I haven't got time, if it takes too much time, I'm not going to do it. Yeah. So simple, doable, practical is my thing. And if it's soul powered, you're going to do it. It's just and it's a webinar, it's a talk that I did that creates that certainty, maybe drops a seed to say you can do it too, and this is how to do it.
Brilliant. And so if you are about to launch something out into the world with your business, check that out. That link is in our show notes over at thesimplifierspodcast.com. So you can find all of that and everything we talked about in today's conversation in the show notes. And really, it's specifically how to help people launch with connection and, as you say, flow and magic. And again, it's sharing your gifts online and out in the world. So, Maria, as we wrap up, there's a few questions I'd like to ask you that I ask every single guest. And again, thank you so much for your time and sharing your wisdom. So, first question is this. What is one book or blog that you're reading these days that's either inspiring you or poking holes and challenging your belief system?
So I dug this up, and I dug this up the other day because I was giving a lecture on some of the teachings and the learnings, and Dare to Lead by Brené Brown. And the reason why, one of the main tenets is, and this is boundary work for me and for my clients that I share, it's clear is kind, unclear is unkind.
Yeah.
When we don't have our own boundaries, we can get murky. So be clear about what I'm putting out into the world, what you're putting out into the world.
Yeah.
And I think that is kind. And you can have difficult conversations or challenging experiences, but be clear about what your stand is and come from a place where we all come from a pure place of love.
Yeah. Brilliant, brilliant book.
Yeah.
We will link that book up in the show notes for people if you guys want to check that out. Again, it's over at thesimplifierspodcast.com. So tell us, who's one person in your network that you just feel is up to brilliant things? We could shine a spotlight on them. Who knows? One day maybe we'll have them on the podcast.
So I'd like to shine a light on Wendy Williams. She's a leadership trainer. She is amazing. She stepped up to be the leadership trainer of a leadership pod that I am involved in, and she's looking to look after a 4,000 strong community can be a little challenging at times.
Yeah.
So she's amazing. She brought in the brilliance of having a mission, a vision, and values, which took the leadership pod a long time to do. And I say that with, oh God, do we need to do this? But it's the scaffolding now that keeps the group safe. And so for me, it's highlighted how important it is to have our sole purpose highlighted, our mission, our vision, what we want to see in the world, who we want to be and who we want the world to be, what we want the world to be, what we want to see. Yeah. And then the values, how we live by our values is so important. And to know your values.
Wendy sounds fantastic. We will link
She's amazing.
We'll link her up in the show notes for people so you guys can click and learn more about the work that she's doing out in the world as well. So I believe gratitude and simplicity go hand in hand. Tell me, what are you grateful for today?
Today, I am grateful that I connected with you, Mary. I am grateful that I had a vision that, I'm grateful. I'm grateful that I got to speak to my soul and get to speak to so many souls across the world. Well, yeah.
I feel that. I definitely feel that. Thank you.
Thank you.
So you can find Maria online, again, mariaheals.com, or her Facebook page is Maria Heals as well. All the links are all in the show notes for you guys, so you can find that there. My final question for you today is this, Maria, and again, I really appreciate all the wisdom you shared today. Someone somewhere is listening to us right now, and she is feeling a little bit pinched. Maybe money has stopped coming to her freely and easily like it used to. Maybe she's feeling like her wealth is a little bit shrunk right now. What's one thing you could whisper into her ear right now just to encourage her in this moment?
You know what came to mind is, as a practical thing, is go and listen to all the free information that's about your topic and start to develop pillars of your topic and start to develop that knowing, that deep knowing of what those passions are. Yeah. So go and just absorb information, cut out the noise of what you shouldn't be, couldn't be, can't do, and really honour what you can do. And if you've got 5, 10, 30 an hour, there's lots of information, do it incrementally and just tick off what is passionate. Yeah. Oh my goodness, if they have those oh my goodness moments, and you will be the ripple effect.
Big love to you, Maria. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you so much, Mary. It's been so much fun.